Hey, this is Mark at Motor City Nightmares. I'm here with author Gary Lee Vincent.
Hello.
Tell me, how did you get started writing these cool novels?
Oh, actually, I started a few years ago. Before 2010, I started writing short stories and collaborating with other friends, and we just were wanting to come up with a line of horror stories. And so one of my breakout books became Darkened Hills, and it was a vampire series. So after the first book came out, it won the 2010 Book of the Year by Forward Reviews magazine for a top horror novel. And then that spawned the sequel, and then the next sequel, and it ended up being about 6 books total. Throughout that time, I was working with other authors that were wanting to get published, and we had developed a writers cooperative called Burning Bulb Publishing. And that's when I met John Russo, the writer of Night of the Living Dead, who's here at Motor City Nightmares with me. We were at a show, and one time he was encouraging me to maybe take up acting. And we started working on a project called My Uncle John is a Zombie. And ever since then, we just kept working on projects together, with my latest books being set in Jerome, Arizona, which is known as one of the wickedest cities of the West, and also one of the most haunted. So I was encouraged to do a ghost story. So Jerome came out, and it's one of the books that I'm promoting here at Motor City Nightmares. And also, you might have heard about Crackcoon. Crackcoon is a novel that I wrote that's being turned into a movie by Brad Twigg, director. And we worked on that back in April this past year, and they're doing post-production on it now. And also, I'm here discussing the sequel, which is Crocodile, also a book. Whenever folks come by, we just love to let them see some of the things that I've worked on and John worked on. We both are real excited to be here.
Let's talk about the more amusing books you got here, the Crack series.
Yeah,
what was
Crackimals.
what was the inspiration behind these stories?
Well, we know in the little title above Crackcoon says Crack Kills, but we thought about just putting a subtitle that says inspired by another movie, because everybody will jump to the conclusion of Cocaine Bear. But my friend Brad Twigg was brainstorming with me, and he had sent me this idea for a cracked out raccoon. And so it was one of those hold my beer moments. And I wanted to come up with something real funny. I wrote an outline of what could happen in either a book or a movie. And so he and screenwriter Todd Martin went off to work on a movie counterpart, and I went off to work on the novel. And basically, the novels all contribute to help make the movie. Any sales that we get goes to pay whatever, any parts that we need done. And we did shoot that back in April, this past April. And so when doing Crackcoon, we thought of this little Appalachian village in West Virginia that would be part state park, national park, and also an area where some backwoods unique synthetic crack that is a little different than the normal kind, and people get on that and they go on a killing spree. But unfortunately, some animals get hold of it too, and they also go on a killing spree too. So it's gallows humor. It's very funny, and it's a chance for all of us just to be goofballs. And so for me as a writer, it's just to be a goofball writer, to come up with a really funny story or a line of stories in this little village with this fake type of crack that's killing off everything.
Besides all these great stories, what do you got coming down the pipeline?
Oh, well, the third book in the Crackable series is called Crack Squatch, which, of course, you got to have Bigfoot if you're going to be in the backwoods of West Virginia, right? And there's a few other things in the works. There is another book I've got coming out later this year called The Blind Melody. It's about a Brazilian piano player that comes to the United States to escape a stalker in Brazil because she witnessed a murder. And so The Blind Melody will be coming out soon, and it's just a thriller. But we got kind of sidetracked when Crackcoon came out, and we had to put all of our efforts and promotion onto it.
Well, you got to go with the fun projects.
Yeah, the fun projects I always have a serious side to me, but when I have a chance to be funny and goofy, and a bunch of my other friends have the same sick sense of humor that I do, well, the game's on.
Well, Gary, it was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you for chatting with me today.
And this is Mark. at Motor City Nightmares with Gary Lee Vincent.